Hi, I'm Miss Terry and I work at the West Regional Branch of the Mobile Public Library. One program that we offer here for toddlers and preschoolers is called Create, Play, Learn. And in that program we give them activities that they can do using their fine motor, gross motor, sensory, and writing. And they can build their muscles and they can learn a lot of new things to do. It's very important to get those fine motor, those muscles in their hands, because they need to, when they get to school, they're going to need to hold a pencil. They're going to need to be able to write, and strengthening their little hands will help. Another important thing is crossing the midline. So there's an invisible line down the middle of our body, and if you notice the little ones, they'll use this hand up to this point and then they take over with the other hand. But it's important for them to cross over and get something and put it on this side of them, and cross over and put it on this side. So make a game of it. They can have a lot of fun with that. So what we're going to share today, what I'm going to share today, is some activities that you can do at home. You can find things around your house. It can be toilet paper tubes that we can use. You can use, this is from a Parmesan cheese container. You can use just about any empty container that you've had around the house, and they can do something fun with it. I've added a board to Pinterest, and it's called Create, Play, Learn with Miss Terry, and you can find different fun things to do in different categories, and I'm going to try to keep adding to that periodically, and I'll put that link in the comments. So this one, I'm just going to show some different things that they can do that are important for their little fingers. I've got this container taking off a lid and putting it back on. That's something, and it might be annoying to us, but that's a skill that they don't necessarily know how to do. When we do our dot paints, the dot paints have the lid the same way. They don't just pull off or push on. If you use washable, anything I use here is washable for the kids. They don't necessarily get the lid all the way on, but pushing that's helping their little muscles. If you have an empty container like this, the holes are big enough to be able to drop things down inside of it. These are just Q-tips that I had around the house. Then they can dump it. Some kids could spend hours filling and dumping. Keeps them busy. Didn't cost much money at all if it's something you've had around the house. A lot of things you can either get from around the house. You can go to the Dollar Tree and walk up and down the aisles and see what kind of fun things you could find for the kids to do at home. Shaving cream is fun. It can get kind of messy. And if you know Miss Terry doesn't like a lot of mess. So you can put some on in a baggie and you can zip it. Put tape around the edges. Packing tape is what I use so it doesn't get messy. You can put some on here. If your child likes to eat things, this kind of looks like Cool Whip. So you might want to use Cool Whip instead, and they can play with it in the tin foil. It's a sensory thing. The tin foil is sensory. You can use coffee filters. They can take a marker and they can draw on the marker, and then you can take water and they can pour a little bit of water. They can sprinkle water on here. You can actually, if you have paper towels, let them draw on paper towels and then spray it with a spray bottle in water. If you've got chalk, different things for them to be able to write with. Chalk has a different feel when they write with it. Markers have a different feel. And crayons, if you have crayons, they have a different feel, and you have to hold your hand and push harder than you would necessarily with a marker. Another good thing for them to do with scissors is cut just fringing. You can have them draw something on there like a square, and then cut it out. They can get the paper and tear it into little strips. That's before they start cutting. That's a good thing to get them ready to cut. This computer paper, it's a different texture and it would cut differently than construction paper. This is a harder cardstock and it would cut differently. Get it wet, let them explore, put a container out, put a little bit of water in there, send them outside maybe, let them see what the texture of the water, what it does to the texture of the paper. Something else they can do, you have a muffin tin, they can pick things up and put it down into the muffin tin. They can use tongs at home. They can use clothespins, picking something up and dropping it, picking something up and dropping it. If you're using Play-Doh, you can use different cookie cutters. These are the alphabet letters that I have. You can make, if they're painting, you can use eggs and let them make designs. Toilet paper rolls, you can do that. You can also get pool noodles. With pool noodles and a little bit of string, if you cut the pool noodles, I just used a utility knife and cut the pool noodle. And then they can, stringing is a good activity, they can string it. You can use a thicker string than that. With pipe cleaners, if you have a colander that you drain your noodles in, put the pipe cleaners in that. If you have some beads, these are pony beads, and so taking the pony bead and putting it on the pipe cleaner, like if they're making a bracelet or something, that's a really good thing for them to do. Using hole punches and the different papers, the thinner paper and the thicker paper, it's harder to cut on some of those. That's a good exercise. If you've got an empty container that they can pretend that they're stirring and pouring and baking. So there's so many things at home that they can use their imaginations, and you can sit with them and y'all can have a good time playing and imagining what. Pretend that you're an artist, pretend that you're a baker, pretend that you're a gardener, and you can do all kinds of fun things at home. The possibilities are endless, but the key is to have some fun. Thank you. Thanks for joining us today. Bye.